So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring to the stage Helen and Bo Alex.
I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be fresh from the fight. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the morning light. He's gotta be sure and he's gotta be soon and he's gotta be larger than life.
Well. Do you hear me? Have you heard enough of me? Well, it's been a really exciting event so far this weekend, and I know that we're going to all leave tomorrow afternoon even more energized and more fired up. And, well, we've been asked to come up here and share a little bit about ourselves, what we've made and what we've gone through to become who we are today, and what we have accomplished so far. But just like Carolyn said, behind every successful man is an exhausted and surprised woman. Mostly surprised. But this is not like a one-man show, even if some people really believe that that's what it is. It's not a one-man show. It's something that we've done together in the family, in Alex Incorporated. So I will share with you my better half in this company, my best friend. Well, I was supposed to say something that was really funny, but I forgot it, so I probably need more amber toast. But I want to share with you the best thing I ever had, ever experienced, and that's my wife, Helen. So, you do what you do now, and I will come up and correct all the mistakes. And I go for a nap, so thank you. Yeah.
You can stay on stage because I have just a couple of minutes, I think. Because I'm really happy to standing here, you know. That's my favorite part of the weekend, to standing here in front of you all. I'm only kidding. Like Marie-Louise said, I never get used to it, and it's been a couple of years since I was here. And Bo is in the front, always, and so I think that's very convenient for me. So, but I'm going to do my best, so you have to apologize if I sometimes lose my, red thread here. So, but I have put together some, words here that I'm going to share with you. So I blame it on Colin because he's the one that wanted me to tell my story. Is someone wanted to hear my story? Yes! Because I don't think it's very interesting, but well, I blame it on Colin if you are bored, if you're having a boring time. You have to blame Colin. First of all, I want to congratulate you all for being here this weekend, and you have taken a right decision to be here and invest in your future. A lot of you have traveled a lot to be here, and I know it takes time, money, and effort to be here. And some of you maybe need babysitters. I've been there, done it, and I know what you're going through, and I know you are at the right time, at the right company. I can guarantee you that. So I just I give you a big, congratulate you. When we first started with this business model, I sat at a function like this, wondered, what on earth am I doing here? It didn't attract me at all. But the more I listened to the speakers, and the more I got involved. I didn't admit it first. I wasn't negative about the business, but I just felt insecure. Is that a right word? I just felt, like Al said, I was in the back of the room. I still am. But I just wanted to see what's happening, and I just, felt insecure. But the more I listened to the speakers, and the more knowledge that I got, my mind began to change. So if I can change, I tell you, anybody can change. So I'm not a powerful speaker like my husband, he's born, like Marilo said, he's born on stage. You think so? Yes. He's not. I've trained him. When the first time he was up here, he was so nervous, the first business that we had. He was throwing his papers around, and I just sat there, what on earth is he doing? So he have improved. So, and today I see him so comfort in this business. So we are a living proof that anybody can do this. So what can I share with you to show you what you have your hands on? And show you about the business, I can do nothing. But I can share my story, where I started from and where we are today. And hopefully, if I can only reach one person here today, I'm satisfied. So, before Mannatech, I have to call it that, BM, that's a short word for before Mannatech, and many of you know what I'm talking about. So. What have happened along the road from where we started to where we are today, I'm going to tell my story. So all of you who have heard that from our old business, please go out. Take a break, because now you're going to have a boring time. And you too, you can have a break. I grew up in a small town in the south of Sweden called Markaryd. My parents have the business of their own, so I come from a business-minded family. We have a campsite by a lake, and we had a small restaurant, and me and my sister were working there summer times when we were in our teenager years. And so I was very early familiar with that you have to work hard for the money, and if you want to accomplish something, you have to work for the money. So during all summer vacation, me and my sister was working there. And when I was 18, I started to work at my father's gas station. They had a lot of company, so I was around my 18, 20. I was working hard at the gas station, and there was a man coming down and filled up his car and drank coffee every time I was working late. And he just came, every evening and helping me out. And there I met the love of my life, who now is my husband. And that was 28 years ago. I can't believe it. It feels like yesterday, 1983. In that period of time, Bo wanted to start his own business. And I listened to his, stories, and he had a lot of ideas, and, we were friends in the beginning, and I hadn't had vacation for the whole summer and have worked real hard, so we took a trip to Spain together, to Mallorca, and then we went down as friends and came home as a couple. And in that period of life, he was, he was around his 20, 23, I think. I forgot. After a couple of years, you don't count anymore. But he had his own idea of selling gold and silver through home parties. And he had no bank, and he had no money. And but he had an idea, and he ordered a jewelry collection. And he didn't have, and I thought he was crazy, you know, even back then. He was even more crazy, if you can believe that. So, but he didn't have any money, but somehow he convinced the bank. And I don't know until this day how he did with that bankman to convince him to lend him the money, because he already owed them a lot of money. So, but he convinced the bank to lend him the money to get his jewelry collection. It was the last day when the parcel was going back to the company. But he's stubborn, you know. So the company was rolling, Gold Invest, and we were selling gold and silver for home parties. And we worked, after a couple of years, I worked at the gas station, and then I worked in Gold Invest during night times. So we was around our 20, 25 years, and normally you go out and have fun and go to parties and discos and, you know, everything. But we had a dream, he had a dream, and who became mine as well. And we, you know, we worked day and night, and no partying, we just, you know, we had a lot of adversities also by then, but after a couple of years, we got very successful, and I gave up my work at the gas station, and we worked full-time in the company. So after 4 or 5 years, we had a great lifestyle. We had everything that we have decided for, and we had everything that we needed, and we bought a big house, renovated it. It was the first time we met Daniel, who did our bathroom. And we renovated it from the bottom to the top. And, you know, we bought all the things that you want. Jewelries, of course we had jewelries, but, you know, everything, boats, and, well, it was Bo that bought the boat. Bo who bought the boat. So, in America. And the business kept growing. And after a couple of years, I got pregnant, and we got 2 great boys who now are grown-ups. And I went to be a full-time mother. I could be that. And but, you know, Bo, we have to work hard for the money, and we have to sacrifice a lot. And when you think that you have success in something, you think you can do it again. So we have developed more product lines like lingeries, soap, makeup, baby clothes, everything. And it was very successful. And we invested, well, I have to say we, because we married. But I'm not an investor. So, but Bo invested in a real estate business, because when you are in that level, you think everything you touch is, you know, going to be good. So, and you have lawyers and bankmen and everybody. It was the happy 80s. And the banks and everybody said yes, yes, and yes. Because everybody wanted to have a piece of the cake, of course. And we were young and naive, and we believed in everybody. Bo believed in his, what do you say, lawyers and all the business partners. And, well, I'm not going to go into the details. You have to take more of that. But a chain of circumstances led to that we went bankruptcy in a couple of months. From 8 to 10 months, we lost everything that we have built up in 8, 10 years. So there I lost my dream. We have to leave the house, the boats and everything. And but Bo, he's a real fighter. He said that if we have done it once, we can do it again. So he was on his way to start all over again. And in that period of time, we were in contact with friends from New York, Scott and Debbie Caesar. They were working with a company in the States that Bo got interested in. And he went over to New York, and I think it was 10, 15 years after you was there, because we didn't have any money. We were just living in a small apartment and living not even paycheck after paycheck. We you know, week after week. My mother had to help us out with food for the family and formula for the kids and everything. So when he said he's going over to New York, he said, "Oh, Scott is paying for my trip," he said. And I said, and I was so, you know, blonde, "Oh, good." But he didn't dare to tell me that he lent the money from his brother-in-law. So it took him 10 years to dare to tell me. Well, it wasn't a good investment, but back then it wasn't so funny if he had taken the money from the kids. So he went over to New York, saw a business model, the MLM, not the Mannatech, Lynn, it's MLM. He saw the business model, and he came home so excited. You know, he was electrified, and he was so, you know, enthusiastic. And I said, "Just go ahead, you do it. I support you 100%, but don't involve me." You know. But he could see beyond the difficulties. He could see, he had seen something in a function like this that I haven't seen yet until that day. So I said, "Just, you know, go ahead and do it, but I've lost my dream, and I just wanted to have a normal life, normal job, normal salary." You know what I'm talking about? Don't take any risks. And so I just went to functions. When Albala came, I didn't dare. No, but like when Scott came, he said, "You must, Helen, you must go with him and support him," and, you know. And when interested speakers like Albala and the rest came, so I just went there polite. And once again, I just wondered, what on earth am I doing here? But long before I know, I also began to change. Little by little, my mind, you know, the more you listen, the more you put in, the more you hear, the unconscious mind began to. So little by little, I started to dream again, and my faith grew in this business model. Again, we had new goals, and we started to put in hours after hours. We have late nights. We have babysitters who have more money. Sometimes they earned a lot more than we did. But because we were investing back, the money that we made, we invested back in the business. So it took us 6 years to reach that goal. And it was of the cost of not living a normal life. We have to give up a lot of things, like, you know, family weekends, family dinners and everything. We were sitting in cars in different parts of the country. I was out with the products, and he was out hammering like he's doing now. But because this business is not based on convenience, but I think the reward is really, really worth it. And did we have fun? Yes, we had. I have stretches my limitations, and I have developed a personal, I think I have become a better person and a better mom and a better wife and everything because of this business. Listen to a lot of, like Colin said, I have surrounded me by of people who knows more than me, and I humbled myself to listen to them and learned. So even if I didn't want to do all the things, I did it afraid. I did it anyway because I wanted to prove for myself and for everybody that you can stretch your limitations. And I just did it afraid, like a speaker from the States said, Joyce Meyer, she's my favorite. She said, just do it afraid and there is something that backs you up. So we have a great lifestyle. We had a great relationships. I can tell BM, before Mannatech, we met a lot of fantastic, great people. And I can tell that God have handpicked all the best people from that business into Mannatech today. Like Al Balla, Lou and Leone, Colin, Oscar and Diana Harper, Luciano, you name it. They were all there. So I think it's a privilege to have all new friends also here. It's not only a company of real products and real possibilities. It's also a company of real friends. For me, I'm so thankful that we have real friends here that you can feel secure with. So that's worth a lot. And 2008, we come to a turning point in our life again. Sometimes you come to crossroads in life that you don't expect. But you never know God's plan for you. So sometimes it's uncomfortable to change. And because you are in a comfort zone, we had everything. We have a business who was rolling and it was growing and we had everything. But we came into some challenges that Bo is going to get more deeper into. Some health challenges and yeah. So little did I know what was waiting for us in this company. The real company, the company that is for real. So now we are on our way for the third time. We're going to Hawaii. It's amazing. Just coming there once was a dream come true. Coming to Maui, bringing Julia with us, coming to Hyatt Regency and get first-class treatment. Colin was meeting us there. I mean, words can tell. It was, I mean, we have traveled a lot with the other business around the world. We went to Sydney, living in Shangri-La in Sydney, and we have been in Malaysia, been out, you know, in the best resorts around the world. But I can tell you, the hotels on Hawaii, you can't put words on it. I think Marie-Louise and Simon can also tell you that you have first-class treatment with this company. It's amazing. The second year we took Joel with us. We went to San Francisco. We got engaged 23 years ago on the Golden Gate Bridge. And it was 23 years ago since we was there. And last year we could bring the kids with us. And it's a dream come true. I'm so thankful. And this time we are bringing our third child with us, Tim. So you never know what is waiting for you. And like Elle said, next year is going to be phenomenal on Hawaii. So this time we're not alone. Ragnhild Bård from Norway is going with us. So we're going to have fun. We spent some time on Malta together, and we had such a good time. Business about laugh a lot and eat a lot and, yeah, you know, drink a lot now. Also, that's a goal for us, to bring all the people with us. Because one thing I missed in the other company was that we saw so many people, you know, setting up goals that they never reached. And it was so sad to see the disappointment in the people when they didn't reach their goals. And so when we went to Costa Rica a couple of years ago with Mannatech, it was a dream come true. It was around 30, 40 people, I think, from Europe and Norway, and we had such a good time, didn't we, Laila? And for me, it was a dream come true just to see all the people that we have worked with so many years, 8, 10 years, see them coming over and be on a 5-star hotel. We're having such fun, such a blast. I mean, I felt more happy for them than for myself. So just to see here that it's so different. This company is so different from we have worked for all our life. I can see that the years before, I don't regret the years because they were good. It was a learning period in our life, especially in mine. And I can see today that it was a preparation time for this company, for the time that we have here. So I just want to encourage you that take your chance, take this opportunity that you have. It's not a coincidence that you are here this weekend. You are here for a reason, and you want something more of life. So I just want to encourage you to fulfill your dreams and goals by helping people, helping yourself. The products and the company is for real, I can tell. With a leadership like Sam Castor, Ray Robbins, Colin and Sam, Steve Nugent and Luciano and everybody, nothing can go wrong. They are true, honest people with pure purpose, so you can feel safe here. So I give the honor to God that He have put us here, and I thank Sam, Castor, and Ray, and all the phenomenal organization across the world. And I'm so happy to meet all the new friends that we got here. When you lose friends, God put new friends in your heart, like Marie-Louise and Simon, Mark and Steve from England, and all the new people that we meet here. I'm so thankful. And I'm gonna give the word back to my husband, but before I'm gonna share a poem that I used to read and have touched my heart. So it's called Learning Isn't Easy. Learning isn't easy. Frustration tends to set in quickly. You hurt, you feel defeated. You want to give up, to quit. You want to walk away and pretend it doesn't matter, but you won't. Because you're not a loser, you're a fighter. We all have to lose sometimes before we can win. We have to cry sometimes before we can smile. We have to hurt before we can be strong. But if you keep on working and believing, you have victory in the end. Kom igen.
So, we can take a break now? Is that remaining time that I see here? I told you. She said 5 minutes. Well, there is no mistakes to correct that more than maybe she make her, what she've done a little bit less important than it's actually been. And I was also born in a village. I always used to say that on a sunny day, one of the most beautiful child ever been born was born, and that was me. But then he became an ugly duckling. And I'm supposed to be serious now, but I think we're supposed to have a little bit fun too. And we are here to give you hope. Because when you're starting to really get to know us, you're going to say, well, if they can do it, anybody can do it. And that's for sure. This is for everybody. It has no bearing if you're a man or a woman or what kind of religious belief you have and how old you are, if you're ugly or you're beautiful like me, and tall like me. Well, I'm in the midget club. But it's been better since we joined Mannatech. But when we grew up, my mom and dad had a business of their own. It was not a question if I should have a business. It was just a question of when. And I know my math teacher always said, Bo, you need to shut up. Because back then I was always talking too. And he said, you need to be silent. You need to learn how to count. And I say, why? He said, oh, otherwise you're not going to get a job. And I say, thank God. I don't want one. Because I knew back then I'm going to have a business of my own, and I could see a difference from this pile of money and this pile of money, and this must be better than this pile. So, and I was working for my mother, who had the business, but I couldn't. That was like the worst thing ever. Can you imagine calling to the next bedroom, calling in sick? And your mother just came in and opened up the door. Hey, sucker, wait, you got to work. I said, Mommy, I'm sick. I broke my leg. Well, you can sit down working. So that's how it was. I said, job, nothing for me. So I went down and I applied for work. I got to work. I was there for 4 weeks. And I just, man, nothing for me. I was not like physically equipped mentally to be an employee. So I started to sell cookware. So I was 20 years old. I was selling cookware at home partying, teaching old ladies around 40s how to make a decent meal. And I remember we had a 4-day training. That was a 4-day training to be able to get your cookware, go out and do the demonstrations. And I missed the 4th day. And the 4th day was when we were supposed to learn how to cook. And I knew how to do the presentation, but not how to cook. So when I came out, there was 15 ladies in the room, and I did my presentation. And I said, I looked in the cookbook, and I said, well, come with me. We're going to go to the kitchen. And I looked in the cookbook. And they thought I was a specialist. And I was looking at page 7. I still remember, it's page 7. This is how to do it. Put it on the stove, put on full heat. And I said, man, full heat, there's no water in the pot. And I was surprised, and they were surprised, and I was laughing. Put everything in. I put it in, put on the lid. I said, man, how am I going to get out of here? Do you have any fire extinguisher here or something? And I sold, and I became one of the top 10 salesmen in that company the first year. And I really believed I can walk on water, and I'm going to fly to the moon and everything. And I said to the manager for the company, this company is not too big enough for 2 of us. One of us has to leave. Guess who's left? I did. So I was starting to importing boomerangs from Australia. I'm going to be the thinking man's frisbee. I'm still the boomerang king of Scandinavia, by the way. I sold 50,000 boomerangs in Scandinavia. And there was no satisfaction guarantee because probably everybody will come in return. That joke I really found out now. I never said that before, so that was a brand new one for you. But, and then I was watching television. I was watching television, and there was a singer in the Swedish Eurovision Song Contest thing. And I was watching, I said, man, she's going to be a superstar. And I decided at that moment, I'm going to be a concert promoter. So next morning, I was 23 years old. I was on the phone calling every record company, every, artist, producer, and everything in Sweden until I found the guy who had a record contract with her. And I said, I convinced him that she was sold out immediately for all concerts in Sweden. I said, but I'm going to get one. So I convinced them to add an extra concert. Man, I shouldn't have done that. But I managed to convince them to give me one opportunity to have a concert in my hometown. And I was a kid, 23 years old. That's not really mature. And I believed I'm going to be so rich. And the bank said to me, you need to have some experience, people helping you here. And so they brought the guy in, and, we had the record until today with 6,000 attendance at the concert, but I went bankrupt overnight because we had so much expenses, and I was driving around in my BMW, and I was like the king of everything. So I had that girl that I used to drive by and fill up my car with gas, and I said to Helen, you know what, have you had any vacations? She said, no. I said, what do you say about a trip to Greece? Because I have figured out the plan. We're going to go to Greece. You're going to buy the ticket. Nobody's going to know I left the country. And then I'm going to work myself over to Israel, being in the kibbutz, eating oranges for a while. And then I'm going to make myself go to Canada because I had to work in Canada. Well, I escaped from the village. And we met up in Helsingborg, and Helen came and said, do you have the tickets? Yeah, she said, I got a trip here for us. I said, yeah, great, where in Greece? She said, Majorca. I said, that's Spain. She ruined my plan. So we came to Spain, and I brought her down to the harbor, and we're trying to convince people at, those big yachts that we could, take a ride with them, working in the kitchen. I'm trying to convince her to go with me. So we could, working from Spain, we're going to go to Canary Island, to West India, and then to Canada. And I don't know, there was something in the water in Spain. And as she said, we came down as friends, and we came home as a couple, and I really had a problem. I said, man, what's going to happen now? I have to go back. I loved her. When these hormones start to... We didn't have plus back then. And I couldn't see myself living my life without her, so I had to give up all my plans, go back to Sweden. And I came back, and the first thing a friend of mine said, we came home in the middle of the night. He said, what are you doing here? Every newspaper in the country is writing about you. I said, well, they say you're bankrupt. I said, I am. I knew that for sure. So I called the bank, and he says, where are you in the world? I said, I'm in Markaryd. That's where we live. He said, why? Well, I said, I think I'm coming back home, and you're going to, solve everything. He said, why? Well, sort of paying you. He said, why? I said, well, I'm going to live here now. He said, why? He said to me, can you really see a future for yourself in this country? I said, well, not really, but I have to, overcome some objection here and make it work. And by a coincidence, my brother asked me to go and deliver some products from his business, and I ended up in a jewelry store that was big like this stage here, and they were selling jewelry cheap. And I was just amazed because it was so cheap. And he said, you can start selling our products. I said, me? I had 100 kroner in my pocket, which is like 10 euro. I knew I had to fill up gas and eat. But there was a silver pendant, a heart with a blue stone. And I decided that day not to eat, but to buy a necklace for the lady over there. And I made it home, and I started talking about, we're going to start selling jewelry. And she said, well, wouldn't it be a good idea if you can become debt-free first? So we don't have to live in my mother's basement, because that's where we were. That was a nice basement, by the way. But it's still a basement. Just like Marilis' son came up and introduced himself. I'm the one living in the basement, he said. And the Heckin samurai. So I ordered the products, because I got 17 minutes to wrap up my life. And I ordered the products. It came to the post office, cash on delivery, For 1 month, I picked up the phone, called the bank, put on as soon as they answer, went to the door, opened the door, went back out, and they started wondering, who's that person opened up that door 15 days in a row, coming in, going out? But one day, the last day when it's going to return, I went in and I looked at him and said, hypothetically, what would you say if I came here and wanted to lend money? He said, hypothetically, what would you use it for? I said, hypothetically, I will start a business of my own. He said, again, hypothetically? He said, what are you going to do? I said, hypothetically, I'm going to sell jewelry at home parties. He said, I've never heard anybody doing it. I said, neither have I, so it's no competition. And he was very intelligent, and he said, I don't know why I'm doing this, because any normal banker wouldn't do this, but I'm going to give you the money. He said, so when do you need it? Now. And even the girl at the cash register, when you're going to cash in, get the money, she really looked at him and she said, are you sure? He said, give him the money now before I change my mind. So I got the money, went home, got the products. I was excited, went to my mother. I stole her typewriter machine, so I made a price list, and I went out. The first thing people said when I'm going to sell the products, do you have a catalog? I said, catalog? I have a price list. You can have it for free. And that was not enough. So when my grandfather died, in his will, he said there's going to be 10,000 kroner for Bo to buy a one-way ticket to America. Now, this is true. This is not a lie. He said because he need to go there. He's going to get his dream come through, but Sweden is not big enough for him. And at that point, I went to my aunt and my father, and I said, is there any chance that my grandfather's last will can be changed to cash? Because I need to print the catalog, and by that, I'm going to make my way to America. And they said, well, we're going to do that so we can make a catalog. The first year, we made 1,800 euro in sale. The second year, 180,000, 1.8 million, 18 million, 10 million. We became millionaires in 5 years. And life was rock and roll, and we expanded with a company in America, second home. I got 7 cars. I got a truck because the kids love to ride in the truck. I bought a bus to bring my friends to a party. We never took a taxi. We always had limousines. We never stayed in a hotel room. We were always in suites. And life was fantastic, and we couldn't see anything go wrong until one day I was offered to sell my real estate business. And it looked too good to be true. So be careful who you listen to. And things are not always as it looked like. Because the lawyers and the bankers and the counselors, everybody said, this is the best deal you've ever done in your entire life. And when I signed that contract, I drove home in my nice BMW 750 to my wonderful home, to my wonderful family. And Helen looked at me and said, what have you done? I said, I think I signed my financial suicide. It looked so good, but it was so bad. So it was actually 14 months later. We'd lost everything. We were no millionaires anymore, but we owed millions. And things really looked hopeless. We sold everything we had. I even sold Helen's 30th birthday gift because we needed to eat. And that day, my friend from New York called and said, Bo, how are you doing? I said, you know what? You can't believe it because I've lost everything I have. And he said, fantastic. I said, man, what a friend you are. He said, what happened? I said, I've lost everything. Well, he said, great, because now probably you're humble enough to see what I have to offer. And he's been talking about this MLM thing for years. And I thought that was monkey business. You can't be rich being a distributor. You need to own the company. Well, in the middle of the night, the phone rang, and Helen woke me up and said that there is a person, I don't know his name, really strange name, and I walked over, I was sleeping, and I was talking, and his name was Ali Bali. or maybe Alabala. Or as we used to say in Swedish, Faderalla. It could be whatever. And he talked about the company that might gonna expand to the country, and I woke up in the morning and said to Helen, I got a strange dream that they called from that company. She said, hey, dummy, they did. I woke you up. And I had to call my friend Scott and said, yeah. He said, yeah, you should come over. There's going to be an F conference. I said, what's an F conference? That was Free Enterprise Celebration. And I said, man, is that the only way I can figuring out what you're doing? He said, yep. I said, how am I going to be able to do it? He said, well, that's your problem. I said, if I can find the money and buy an airline ticket to go to America, how am I going to explain that to Helen? He said, that's your problem. So I called my brother-in-law and said, hey, don't you have a travel agency in your company where you're working? He said, yes, we do. I said, great. Do you have a credit card? He said, yes. I said, good. This is the deal. You buy me a ticket. You pay with your credit card. I'm going to pay you back one day. But conditionally, because you're married to Helen's sister, you can't tell anybody that we've done this. Because now I had a plan again. So I went to Helen and said, you know, Scott Caesar might have a job for me. In America, we can go back to the US. She looked at me. I said, man, this is serious. They even sent me the ticket. And I went over, and we drove from New York down to Richmond, Virginia, and we were sitting in a Coliseum. But there was a little bigger room than this. I think 1,000 times more people. There was 18,000 people there. And that was the same night Princess Diana died in a car crash here in France. Geography is not really... I'm glad I'm not making the direction for the airline pilots. Because that reminds me about the story. Have you seen Dean Martin? He's good. And he was sitting in a bar and they was talking and he said, so they were drunk and he said, so what's your profession? Before I was a bus driver. Oh, you was a bus driver, okay. So why did you stop being a bus driver? Too many drunks in the road. I better go. I'm going to go to work now. So what are you working with right now? I'm an airline pilot. That's not Ryanair. Well, I went over and I saw people coming up, walking 8 steps up to a stage, sharing their history of how they came to America with $100 in their pocket. They became multimillionaires in 4 years, and all of them were speaking like from India, and I was like, man, I said, you know what? I can do it too. Some of them really didn't speak real English, in my opinion, and I said, man, I speak half Swedish. I will have a benefit of communicating better than they do, so if they can do it, I can do it. That's why I think all stories needs to be told, that if I can do it, you can do it. And I decided that night when I sat down underneath that Coliseum with Al Bala and I said, I'm really going to do this. I'm really going to do it. I haven't seen any business presentation. I haven't seen nothing. But I knew, just like Yanni said, I knew this is the thing I'm going to do. And Al said, are you ready for change? And I said, yes, I am. He said, what do you want to change? The car. My house. He said, what are you ready to change? I said, you talking to me? I said, looked around, said, you still talking to me? Change? I mean, I know, God, Jesus, me, perfect. Some mistakes I made. But he said, it's about you and you change. And you change your way of thinking, you change your way, but I'm going to teach you how to change and become what you need to be an example for people to follow by their own free will with excitement. You need to have a magnetic personality. And I said, well, I can work on that. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to change. And I called my wife and said, I'm going to come home with something. It's going to be so dramatic. You trust me. She said, trust you? Last time I trusted you, it cost us $2 million. Yeah, but I said, this time you only have to trust me with $150 because that was the investment. She said, well, I can go up to 300. And I would jump on a plane. I called Martin Lundholm, who's sitting back here in the room. This was 1997. Helen was heavily pregnant. Can a woman be heavily pregnant? She was very much pregnant. You see, my excuse is that number one, I'm Swedish, and I mostly speak Swedish. English is my fifth language. First of all, I got Swedish, and then Swedish, and then Swedish, and then Swedish, and then English. And I'm still working on the first ones. So four is good. And I called Martin and I said, Martin, rent the meeting room somewhere, invite everybody you know, pick me up on the airport, I have something to share. And he said, what is it? Don't ask questions, just bring the people in together. Trust me. And I came, they picked me up, I lost all my luggage in Frankfurt, as usual in Frankfurt. And I came into the meeting room with Nike shoes, blue jeans, a white t-shirt with coffee from here to here. I said, this is like, designer shirt. It's called Spot Me. And I went up. I lost everything I had. I had a little notepad. I couldn't hardly read what I wrote, and I was just looking at it. I said, this is you, and I wrote the circle, and then I wrote 6 lines, and I said, this is you. We do this volume, you're going to be rich. Who's going to be with me? It took 5 minutes to do my presentation. 15 people said, how much is it to get in? I said, I don't know. The problem is the company is not in Sweden yet, so we need to figure that out too. The next day, I drove to Germany. I met the guy. He was begeistert, and he said, maybe we can collaborate a little bit. And but it didn't feel right, so I called Al and said, is this what you offer me? I'm out of the game. I need to find somebody else. So he said, well, you can go to the Netherlands. I said, I can go to the Netherlands because I like French fries and mayonnaise. And Heineken is not bad either. So I drove down to the Netherlands. I met the country manager that was there then. Great, this is what we're going to do. I bought 5 kits, went back to Sweden, sponsored 5 people, went back the next week, bought 25 kits more. By the end of the month, we sponsored 250 people in the business. And it moved fast, and people said, man, we can't read it, it's Dutch. I said, read slow, for God's sake. Yeah, that's how it is. They said, man, it's in Dutch. I said, who cares? Yeah, soap is a soap. It can't be more than a soap. How excited can you be? You need to look at the vision and your dream and your purpose in your life. So we grew fast. And I remember Al came to Sweden after 4 weeks. He said, what's going on? Where do you find all these people? On the street. I showed 65 people the plan the first 4 weeks in the business. 50 said no, probably because they didn't understood what I showed them. But 15 said yes. And I couldn't show the plan. I had what we call today a napkin presentation. That was handwritten notes from Al. This is what you do with all. And I just showed it. I made photocopies of it. When people said, what are you going to show? I said, this is what we do. They said, makes sense. And I was just like, man, that's a smart sucker. He knows more than I know. And he said, I'm in. What should I do? I said, I gave him 20 copies. I get rid of these 20 as soon as possible and just sign them in. So we signed up 15 people, and 4 of them that came in the first 30 days in the business, and this is about timing and do it fast. Those 4 helped us make our first 100,000 euro in the business. They came in the first 30 days. So do you need to be an expert in doing this? No. You just need to do it afraid. Because if you have a purpose and you have a reason and a why, anybody can do it. And 6 years, we reached that top achiever level. I mean, I remember we were sitting home, and I said to Helen, she said, we need food. I said, when? We're living day by day. Day by day. I said, she said, the kids need to have breakfast. I said, when? Tomorrow. I said, don't worry. I'm going to fill up the car with gas now. One way or another, we're going to have breakfast tomorrow. And you know what? Our kids don't even is aware of that we have lost everything and we've been poor, broke. A homeless person had a better, net balance than I had. The personal assets was worth more than what we had. And our kids have never known it. Because there was always food on the table. But yes, sometimes, I got some cassette tapes, I got some CDs, I got some books, because I decided not to do the mistakes myself. And when Scott said to me, this is what you have to do, I said, okay. I didn't question it. You know why? he had what I wanted. I didn't dare to question the recommendation. Yes, there were new things for me that I'd never done before, but I'd never had what he had either. And he introduced me to more people and more people and more people, and had an opportunity to listen and listen and listen and listen. As soon as I came close to top achievers, I decided to shut up and listen. I decided not to have an opinion. I was listening, zip. So when I do this, zip it, which means when you're sitting down with your upline or somebody who have a fast-growing business, zip it and listen. And you don't think that I have learned to listen, but I have. I have learned to listen, and the only reason, because we are no magic. I mean, Mannatech is not magic. Ambertos is a little magic, but you are the magic. Just as been said today, you are the magic. If you can just listen, act, you're going to be wealthy very fast. And we qualified for that top achiever level, and we were invited to be keynote speakers, and we were in Malaysia. They treated us like celebrities. We were sent out. We could stay on that hotel out, out in the water, watching, observing, great, talking for 3 hours, well-paid, flight business class. We were in Singapore. We were in Bangkok. We were in Sydney, Australia. I was once asked to go to Siberia, and I started to say, what have I done wrong? Because normally they send people there, they never come back. And we were all over the place, and life was good, and we had a good business that worked well. We could buy back our life. People said back then, it will never happen, he's gone, he's out, he will never come back, ever, 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 ever. You know what? We proved them wrong. And not because we've done something you can't do, but we managed to, just like Colin said, surround ourselves with people that is better than us. And we were just the sheer leaders. And we had fun, because it's all about having fun. But then I was fat, tired, and 48. Two of my good friends have got out of the business. And I remember somebody said to me, well, I'm going to leave too. I said, have you signed? He said, no. Well, when are you going to do it? Munich. I was up in Stockholm at the big event. And I managed to get myself home, buy an airline ticket, make a hotel reservation. I flew to Munich to convince a very good friend not to join this company. And he introduced me to Ray Robbins, and Ray Robbins immediately said, Bo, do you always end up in trouble? I said, man, who's been talking to him? And Helen called me in the night and says, how did it go? I said, bad, 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 bad. We've lost him. She said, anything else? Yeah. Man, they're good people. And something started to talk to me. And so for a year, we were observing Mannatech. And then suddenly things happened like it was supposed, that I didn't want to give up what we were doing. I loved what we were doing. We loved the people. We loved that stupid toothpaste and bar soap. And we actually still use them because they're expensive but good. But now we do it by free will. But I started to try these products. And something started to happen in me. And I said to Helen, you know what? This is goofy. It can't be only vegetables in this thing. I said, if we take amber toast through the nose, do you think we're going to start laugh too? Because that was funny products. And there was funny people in this. But I experienced things that I've never experienced in 11 years in the largest manufacturer of nutritional products in the world. And I said, this is different. The people we met were different. The products is different. Let's just see if there's money involved in this too. She said, why? I said, either it's total temptation or it's just God showing us another way and a turning point. And I didn't want to give up what I was doing. But, you know, one thing led to another. We were in Russia doing a seminar in Moscow, and I was on stage saying, you know, and I always said Mannatech has the best products. And I said to Helen, now I can really see how people who have a mistress really having a problem saying the wrong name to the wrong person. I never experienced myself And if I would choose somebody named Helen. That was a joke. But I said, we can't keep on doing this. So we joined hands, we talked to the kids, and we decided to join this company. The kids was for it, because we make everything as a family company. We make the decision together. Just like as we were approached a year ago with another network marketing company who flew over from America twice. They came to our little town. And they offered us $1 million to go over and 10% of the company. And I said no. And they said to Helen, what's wrong with your husband? She said, there's a lot of wrong with him. She said, are you ready to listen? But you know, Wiz, when he have made a decision, and he sticks with it. So they have to leave, and they were harassing us with emails for months and months and months and months. And I'm so excited about that we are not there. And I'm so excited about that. Mannatech was not a temptation. Mannatech was our destiny. And the 11 years in the other company was just a preparation. Just like Helen said, it was just a preparation for what we're going to do here. And I've seen doors open up, and unlikely things have happened, and people who absolutely do not want to get into the business suddenly is in the business doing better than anybody. Remember when I called Ragni and said, Ragni, she said, what are you up to now? I said, well, I'm working. Well, they warned me for you. I think that's what the wording was. They warned me. I said, great, can I come and see you? She said, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm not going to sign anything. I'm not going to do anything. Ragni, do you have coffee? I said, can I get a cup of coffee? Yeah, you can get coffee, but you need to be out of the door fairly fast. And I was out of the door fairly fast, but I left the magic secret agents on our kitchen table, which called the products. And a few days later, she called and said, I'm in. I said, in what? In Mannatech. And by the way, I want the big pack. And that was back then when it was 8,500 Danish kroner, which more than 1,000 euro today. But she went in. And history shows it went well. The unlikely happened. And I like when unlikely things happen, because then you know for sure it's not about you anymore. It's about the magic you bring to people. We're excited about what this company is going to take us. We're excited about the leadership, the privilege to be able to sit down with Sam Castor and Ray Robbins, knowing Al and Luciano, know Colin from the early days in the other thing that we were doing. And we can't live out of the old experience. We're not going to be paid here. Only if we practice what we've been learned, and if we practice what we preach, we're going to get. The first year, the first 2 years, we made less money in this company than we made in the other company. But you know what I know? We're going to make tenfold as much in this, whatever been possible to make in the other ones. And we've seen more people succeeding with this business than we saw in the other business. We've seen more people going on the trips, and we've seen more people accomplish pin levels than we ever done. And we've seen more and more and more and more. And the best is just to come, and we just scratch the scratch of the surface yet. And guys, you are the magic. Don't trust circumstances going to be in your favor. Will never happen. I've been giving several times to do what Robert Kiyosaki once said. Is that your life? I will recommend you to buy a gun, shoot yourself, and end the misery. But I decided not to. But then a lawyer said to me once, it's one thing to do a mistake once, don't do it twice, and absolutely not the third time. You don't have to know everything. You can go out and do this presentation, and you can be the magic, and you can bring in the masses. I really hope that you leave this weekend with a new commitment, not to your upline, not to your downline, but to you and your future. Because you can, if you decide to shut up and listen and then act, be part of what Al is talking about, the best ever PD Summit 2013 that ever had happened in the history of this company. And you can do it. So there is more to say, and as you noticed, I don't have any notes, because when I write, I can't read it. But I also learned from a wise man who said, never trust a good memory. And there was many things I would like to say, but I couldn't do it. But I have put it together in writing. So maybe one of those days I'm going to give you my little piece of literature, and as an encouragement for what to come. And one more time, thank you for listening. It's been a privilege. And as I said from the beginning, we were here to give you hope. If we can do it, you can do it. And I really pray that you come home and you're going to conquer the world together. Your success is my success. Thank you very much.